Amos Yaldin is the former head of Israeli Defense Intelligence Agency, and he joins us from Tel Aviv. Mr. Yadlin, welcome on India Today. What's the latest that you can tell us, sir, about Israel's operations in Lebanon and the status of Hassan Nasrallah?
Hassan Nasrallah, the head of the terror organization Hezbollah, is dead. The IDF confirmed it in the last half an hour. This terror organization leader ordered an attack on Israel on the 8th of October without any Israeli provocation. And he continued to tie his organization and his country to the terrorists in Gaza, what brought at the end of the day to the destroying of his organization and he himself.
So are you saying his organization now stands destroyed with several top leaders, including Fuad Shukr, Ali Karaki, Ibrahim Akil, Surur, Hussein Surur, all of them have been killed. But is the organization destroyed? Because it apparently is 100,000 strong in terms of men and 150,000 strong in terms of weapons.
I think, of course, it was not destroyed to the last terrorist. But when you hit the leadership of organization, and you have said all the names, when you destroy their command and control, when you destroy, and Israel have destroyed, all their strategic long-range missiles and rockets, the terrorists are there, but they cannot affect in a military impressive way that was the threat for many, many years, what is happening in Israel. In the last 10 days, they lost hundreds of their terrorists. Many, many were wounded. They lost many of their weapons. And to the surprise of everybody, nobody in Israel was killed. So this shows you that this mighty, formidable, 10 feet high, a terror organization is now reduced to be a lousy terror organization, very much like others that survive. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, they are surviving. They are surviving in the networks. They are surviving in the mosques. They are surviving in some quarters, but they are not the national security threat to Israel and to the rest of the democratic world.
That's a big statement, sir, because you've tracked terrorist organizations like the Hamas or militia like Hezbollah all your life. Are you saying Hezbollah today is no longer a military threat to Israel? Can all those 60 to 80,000 civilians move back to northern Israel? Are you not facing a threat from their missiles or rockets anymore?
I think this is the time to return the residents to their home. It can be done, of course, it's preferably done diplomatically, but by resuming the two important UN Security Council resolution, 1553, that call to the dismantling of Hezbollah as a military power in Lebanon, and 1701, which called to the Hezbollah not to be south of the Litani River. But the main goal, the main instrument to bring back the residents is by deterrence. At that time, they will know that any attack on our residents may cause Israel to get into southern Lebanon or to continue with attacking what was left of Hezbollah in Beirut or any other place in Lebanon. I think Israel deterrence that was basically destroyed in 7th of October is now rebuilding in an impressive way.
So will the Israeli forces, the 7th Brigade in the north, the two reserve brigades, will they go into Lebanon, or is Israel's going into Lebanon imminent, or is that not required in your appreciation?
I think it depends on what Hezbollah will do. If Hezbollah will agree to stop his attacks on Israel, as I said, they refused to do it in the last 11 and a half months. If they will stop, Israel will not have to go to Lebanon. We don't want to occupy Lebanon, any part of Lebanon, but it depends on our capability to bring back the residents of the north and to make sure that Lebanon and anybody from Lebanon, be it Hezbollah or other terror organization, will not harm our residents in the north.
Okay, but do you anticipate, as some argue, that there could be a response, 1, from Hezbollah, 2, from the Houthi rebels, 3, from the Shia militia in Iraq and those rebel forces in Syria?
You're absolutely right that the Iranians try to build a ring of fire around Israel. Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran itself, the Houthis, terror from the West Bank. But I think this is the time for Israel to break this ring of fire. Hamas militarily destroyed, Hezbollah suffered a huge blow. The Houthis saw what Israel can do to their port, and it can happen again. And so are the Shia militia in Iraq, even though Israel in Iraq is very careful because our allies, the United States of America, decided that they will take care of it. So the challenge is still there, but Israel's position is now much better.
Okay, but I want to understand from you, sir, will there be a threat of a massive response? Is there a threat of a massive response that could overwhelm your Iron Dome and David Sling missile defense shield if there's a combined assault? What role do you see as the former intelligence chief of Israel, defense intelligence chief, that what role would Iran play? Can Iran attack you directly or through its proxies?
If I understand right your question, a response can come from any player in the Iranian axis of evil. However, Israel proved in the last 10 days that it has a very good synergy between the attacking force based on excellent intelligence, that destroying most of the projectiles, the rockets, the missiles, the ballistic missiles, the cruise missiles, before they are launched, and a very good, as you mentioned, missile defense. This combination is an amazing synergy to protect the people of Israel.
But it can get overwhelmed. It got overwhelmed in the past if there is a major assault. Are you saying, sir, in your appreciation, nobody has access, neither Iran nor the Houthi rebels, nor the other, adversaries of Israel in this axis of fire, as you say, the ring of fire, missiles that can target Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and overwhelm your defense system?
You cannot argue with the fact. The Houthis tried to hit Tel Aviv. They did it once with a drone. The Shia militia is trying to hit Tel Aviv. Hezbollah trying to hit Tel Aviv. Hamas tried to hit Tel Aviv. And so are the Iranians. The record is that they are not successful. And let's hope that this will be also in the future, even though a missile 1, 2, 3 may penetrate. There is no hermetic defense, but the defense until now is beyond any expectation.
News that we are following here at the moment, it's Iran leader Khamenei, who's now been moved to a secure place. Hezbollah chief is dead. Iran leader has now been moved to a safe house. Sources are now telling India Today Khamenei has been moved to a secure location. Iran's supreme leader, his security has been heightened. The leader, Ali Khamenei, has been transferred to a secure location. Heightened security measures have been put in place, sources have told India Today. Iran has now called for an urgent meeting of the Organization of the Islamic Cooperation. Iranian plane has headed to Beirut. It's now turned around. Lebanon's transportation minister has banned entry of all Iranian aircraft. Iran is in constant contact with Hezbollah and other regional allies to determine the next step. All this following Nasrallah's killing, sources have told.
I have a message for the tyrants of Tehran. If you strike us, we will strike you. There is no place in Iran that the long arm of Israel cannot reach. And that's true of the entire Middle East. In this body, in the Security Council, we're going to have a deliberation in a few months. And I call on the Security Council to snap back UN Security Council sanctions against Iran, because we must all do everything in our power to ensure that Iran never gets nuclear weapons. Far from being lambs led to the slaughter, Israel's soldiers have fought back with incredible courage and with heroic sacrifice. And I have another message for this assembly and for the world outside this hall. We are winning.
Iran leader Ali Khamenei has been moved to a secure place. This war is not going to stop anytime soon. There were global calls that were being made. In fact, the United States of America and France, both of them, had pitched an idea that there could be a 21-day ceasefire that could take place. But Israel, very, very clear, they did not stop the bombardment. Close to 1,500 people have lost their lives over the past 4 months. Every day, the death toll has been rising, and we just heard Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu very, very clearly putting it out there that there is no place that you can hide. In fact, Israel, through the various statements that they were coming out, categorically said that we do not want a war with the citizens. They were asking the citizens to move out of the way, but were also very, very clear and specific in saying that they will not, they'll make sure that they demolish and dismantle Hezbollah. What you just heard was the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He was speaking at the UNGA and very categorically saying that we will formulate a strategy going forward. But let me tell you, from this dais, from this position, from this place, I'm telling you there's no place that you will be able to hide. Now, Israel has claimed a major kill after Friday's airstrikes in Beirut in Lebanon. The Israel Defense Forces have said they have eliminated Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah. There was a tweet on social media on Platform X. The IDF said Hassan Nasrallah will not be able to terrorize the world anymore. The announcement comes after unprecedented 5 hours of Israeli airstrikes that took place on Beirut. Israel said that it has targeted the central command headquarters of Hezbollah. 6 buildings were flattened in this attack. Israel also went ahead and said Hezbollah had been operating under residential buildings and using Lebanese people as human shields. Hezbollah, on its part, has claimed Nasrallah was alive after Friday's strikes. It's yet to comment on Israel's fresh claims.
זה לא סוף ארגז הכלים, זה צריך להיות מאוד ברור. יש עוד כלים קדימה ללכת, והמסר הוא מסר פשוט, מי שמאיים על אזרחי מדינת ישראל נדע להגיע בצפון, בדרום, גם במקומות יותר רחוקים. אנחנו בסופו של דבר, אחרי תקופה ארוכה של הכנה, של הרבה מאוד יכולות ללבנון, התחלנו לממש, גם התקיפה הזו הוכנה במשך זמן רב, היא יצאה בזמן הנכון, בצורה מאוד חדה, ואנחנו עכשיו עוברים להכין בצורה מאוד חדה גם את הדברים הבאים. בסופו של דבר, אני מדגיש עוד פעם, מוכנות C בכל הגזרות שלנו, כל הכוחות, כולל חבירה לארגונים האחרים, צריך להיות תיאום מאוד טוב, מוכנות מאוד טובה.
Ladies and gentlemen, the real war criminals are not in Israel. They're in Iran. They're in Gaza, in Syria, in Lebanon, in Yemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the real war criminals are not in Israel. They're in Iran. They're in Gaza, in Syria, in Lebanon, in Yemen.
You just heard what Israel has been claiming over the past many months. In fact, the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu used the platform, that is the UNGA, and very categorically told the world that this is not something, that they are not the terrorists. In fact, it's the other side who are the terrorists. The military change of command of Hezbollah terrorist organization, that's what you can see on your screens. The top boss has been eliminated. And now they are saying that the others will also be eliminated. Iran's supreme leader is also reacting to the killing of Nasrallah. What you're seeing on your screens is how this is the hierarchy of the terrorist organization, that is Hezbollah. Now, Iran's supreme leader has reacted to the killing of Nasrallah. Khamenei has said that non-killing shows the xenostic brutality. Muslims should stand with Lebanon. Hezbollah's strong structure is unshaken. There are claims and there are counter-claims. Now, it is the supreme leader of Iran who has reacted to the killing of Nasrallah, who was the Hezbollah chief. The non-killings are now showing how the Zionists, how brutal they are. Muslims now need to stand together with Lebanon. They all need to come together. Hezbollah's strong structure is unshaken. This is the claim which is being made by Iran's supreme leader. Iran's supreme leader has now been moved to a secure location, and Israel is now claiming that they have killed the supreme leader of Hezbollah. The chief has been killed. Targeted killings taking place over the past many days. Airstrikes, air sirens could be heard in the skies in Beirut and across many cities in Lebanon. That's the latest that is coming in. There was a tweet that was put out by the IDF, that is the Israeli Defense Forces. They went ahead and said, Hassan Nasrallah will not be able to terrorize the world anymore. In fact, Iran has now said that they want to call an urgent meeting of the Islamic organization. The top leader, Ali Khamenei, has been moved to a secure location. Innocent Lebanese people are being killed. These are the claims that Iran is making. But it was the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, who was speaking at the UNGA, that is the United Nations General Assembly. While he was speaking, continuous barrage of airstrikes were taking place in Lebanon, specifically in Beirut. Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, saying Muslims now need to come together, they need to protect Lebanon. Hezbollah's strong structure is unshaken. As the war continues, close to 1,500 people have lost their lives. Innocent people, unfortunately, have lost their lives over the past 4 months. And now, in a fresh tweet, it was the IDF, that is the Israeli Defense Forces, who categorically said that they have now killed in a precision strike Hassan Nasrallah, who was the Hezbollah chief. Our Foreign Affairs editor Geeta Mohan had a conversation with the defense expert. Listen in.
I'm being joined by Sarit Zahabi, a Hezbollah expert. She is in a bomb shelter in Tel Aviv and is speaking to us. Sarit, many thanks for joining us here. Sarit, the fact that Hezbollah's chief, Israeli Defense Forces have announced has been assassinated or killed. What next for Hezbollah after Nasrallah? The fact that IDF has almost eliminated the second rung and now the chief gone. What next for Hezbollah? Is there a leadership in line? Are there other commanders who can actually take over? Being a Hezbollah expert, what is your opinion and assessment of the situation right now?
First, I must say that I'm not in Tel Aviv. I'm in northern Israel, 9 kilometers from Lebanon, and I'm speaking to you from my bomb shelter. We already had to run to shelter 3 times this morning. Now to your question. The killing of Hassan Nasrallah, since it happened right after elimination of many rockets and launchers of Hezbollah in Lebanon, after it happened in killing also other seniors of Hezbollah. This is a huge blow to the main proxy of Iran in the region. And I can tell you that from a very personal level, I feel much more protected this morning, even though I know it will take time until the fire will stop completely towards Israel. We should look at not at the next few weeks, we should look at the next few years. Hassan Nasrallah was responsible to the death of many people around the globe, not only Israelis. And it was very important that any terrorist around the globe would know that this would be his fate if he is killing people that believe in democracy and believe in values of human life and human rights. So I am saying that it will take a little bit more time to see quietness. I believe more military actions of the IDF, we will see them on the way, because clearly from this morning constant shooting towards Israel from Lebanon by Hezbollah, the work is not completely done. But the fact that Hezbollah is no longer a huge terrorist army, this is a game changer with regard to the strategic threat that it posed on Israel right until yesterday.
Right. Sarit, also this entire operation, whether it's from the pager explosions, the walkie-talkies, eliminating the commanders, and now looking at a very precise strike at the Hezbollah headquarters, exactly where Hassan Nasrallah's bunker was. It does require intelligence, a penetration of intelligence within Lebanon, within Hezbollah. In your appreciation, how much of Israeli intelligence penetration do you see in this entire operation within the Hezbollah?
Yes, there is a question whether the head of the executive council of Hezbollah, who is also a member in the military council, executive council is the civilian branch of Hezbollah, and the jihadi council is the military branch. And there is one person, his name is Hashem Safi Adin, he's one of the leaders of this organization, and he's a person who is involved in the military and civilian infrastructures of this project. And we don't know yet whether he was killed with Nasrallah or not. So if he is still alive, he was marked as the successor of Nasrallah even before the war. We know that Ali Karki, who is the head of the southern front of Hezbollah against Israel, was also killed with Nasrallah, which was also a very prominent figure and well experienced for many years in his position. So this was also very important. So the amount of people that can replace him is with experience of leading a big organization declined in the past few weeks. And we should wait and see, because it will take a little bit time, because since they were underground, it will take a little bit more time to understand who else was killed with him, to understand who else is on the way, because it is clear that Israel made a decision to make sure that Hezbollah is not going to recover and pose the strategic threat to the state of Israel anymore. And part of that is taking off its leadership.
Right. Sarat, in terms of the threat to Israel when it comes to these organizations, now keeping and comparing capability and proximity in mind, was Hamas the bigger target for Israel or Hezbollah?
I don't think you need my words in this. You see for yourself. All the operations that you just mentioned indicate years of work. I think that you can see even the difference between Lebanon and Gaza, that the IDF was preparing in the past decade, and maybe even more, to a scenario